Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we are strapping in for what might be the fastest, most disruptive forecast we have ever analyzed.
It really might be.
Our mission is to take Elon Musk's recent conversation transcript and just pull out the absolute core of his predictions. We're talking about the immediate future of work, economics, and even currency itself.
And it's more than just a series of bold claims,
Yeah.
The source material lays out this single, unified techno-economic theory. It's like a roadmap for a total civilizational transition, and it's all driven by AI and robotics.
A roadmap. I like that.
Yeah, but we have to address the core tension right up front. You have Musk's vision of, total technological abundance on one hand.
And on the other hand, you have our current reality. Massive global debt, high inflation, a society that is just, deeply dependent on labor.
Exactly. He basically sees AI as the only escape hatch from all of that.
Okay, so we're pulling the direct nuts and bolts from his conversation on Nikhil Kamath full episode People by WTF EP 16. We aren't here to speculate. We're here to analyze the specific mechanisms and the shockingly aggressive timelines he presents. Let's find out what this future actually looks like.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's just jump right into the deepest end. The timeline for the end of mandatory human labor. The claim is, it's just unambiguous. Working will be optional in less than 20 years.
Maybe as quickly as 10 or 15.
10 years?
I know. That speed is what just stops you cold. He frames this not as some slow cultural shift, but as a hard deadline. It's imposed by exponential technological advancement.
So the argument is that once AI and robotics get efficient enough, they just satisfy all of our baseline needs?
All of them. And that makes the whole requirement to work for sustenance, obsolete.
The analogy he uses really stuck with me. He says working will become a hobby.
It's an incredibly potent way to visualize it, isn't it? He suggests it'll be like how some people grow their own vegetables today.
Right. I don't have to farm my own tomatoes to eat.
Exactly. You just buy them at the store.
Yeah.
But some people still do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they enjoy the process or the challenge. It's a hobby. It's not a survival requirement.
And he's saying that will apply to all types of labor? The need disappears.
The need disappears.
Okay, but if we're going to accept a 10 or 15-year timeline, we have to talk about the hardware. This isn't just about software or language models. This is physical.
It is. And he ties this directly to the Optimus robot.
Yeah.
He notes that mass production is slated to begin next year.
Next year, the humanoid robot.
Right. And he asserts that Tesla's advantage here, what he calls being the world leader in real-world AI from their work on self-driving cars, is the whole foundation for this rapid shift.
Because self-driving requires a true understanding of, a chaotic physical environment.
A completely unpredictable environment. And that same intelligence, you poured it into a humanoid form. Well, that's the machine that takes over all the labor.
But this introduces a natural skepticism, doesn't it? Even if the tech is ready in 10 years, can society, infrastructure, and regulation possibly keep up?
That's the big question.
We're talking about replacing, 80 or 90% of the global labor force? Isn't that an incredibly optimistic assumption about bureaucratic readiness?
That is the major point of friction that's kind of missing from the source material. Yeah. But it's a key question for you to consider. The forecast seems to operate on the assumption that technological progress is just this overriding force.
And all the red tape just gets swept aside.
Swept aside by sheer economic necessity and utility. And if we connect this relentless speed to his broader theory, we are moving toward what he calls the singularity.
Ah, the singularity. We hear that word thrown around a lot. How does he actually define it here?
He describes it almost like a point of no return. He uses the analogy of a black hole's event horizon.
You don't know what happens after the event horizon?
Precisely. It's that irreversible exponential point where AI surpasses human intellectual control and the world just fundamentally changes. And the key insight is that the massive rollout of Optimus, the hardware, combined with the software's growth, that's what puts that event horizon maybe less than 2 decades away.
So it's an acceleration curve built on real-world tech that's being deployed now.
Exactly.
Okay, so if human labor is optional and technology is abundant, the whole wage structure just collapses. And we move from debating, say, universal basic income UBI to what he calls universal high income. UHI.
Yes, and that is a radical shift in the model.
The distinction feels really important.
It's crucial. UBI implies, a safety net covering basic needs.
Right.
UHI, in Musk's view, means radical material comfort for everyone. His claim is that people will have any goods and services that they want.
Not just housing and food.
No. This means unlimited travel, education, complex medical care, bespoke luxury goods. You can think of it, the AI and robot network can produce it for you.
Let's just pause on that for a second. That claim. If AI is manufacturing everything on demand, what does that kind of abundance do to prices? I mean, unlimited supply. The logical consequence has to be massive deflation.
Precisely. And this is where he introduces the specific economic mechanism. He says inflation or deflation is just a straightforward ratio.
The change in supply of goods and services.
Divided by the change in the money supply. Simple as that. So if the output from automated systems increases faster than central banks can print money, deflation isn't just possible, it's mathematically inevitable.
The productivity surge just overwhelms the currency.
It completely overwhelms it.
The logic is simple, I get that, but the timeline he puts on this it's genuinely shocking. He doesn't say this is a long-term thing. He estimates that goods and services growth will exceed money supply growth in about 3 years or less.
3 years.
3 years.
That is basically tomorrow in global economic terms. It implies the AI efficiency gains are already so close to the tipping point that within a single U.S. presidential term, the dynamics of deflation will start to dominate.
I have to challenge that. I mean, global monetary policy, especially in the U.S., is designed to combat deflation. Policymakers see it as catastrophic because it discourages spending.
Right.
So even if productivity explodes in 3 years, can we really believe that these entrenched institutions will just let deflation happen? Won't they just print trillions more to counteract it?
That's the tension. But his counterargument is that they must let the productivity surge happen.
Why?
Because it's the only way out of the current debt crisis. He points out that the U.S. federal debt is now so large that the interest payments alone, they exceed the entire military budget.
Wow.
You can tax your way out of it. You can't cut spending enough to fix it.
So the argument is this massive deflationary AI-driven productivity increase isn't just an outcome, it's the only functional solution for major countries today. The output has to grow faster than the debt.
And only AI can deliver that kind of growth. It reframes AI from a cool technology to an existential economic necessity. The output surge solves the solvency crisis, even if it completely upends the structure of value as we know it.
Okay, so if abundance means every good and service is essentially free or provided under this UHI model, then what happens to money?
The relevance of traditional money has to decline dramatically.
Why hold cash if you can just think of something and an AI makes it for you?
Exactly. Musk predicts money will decline in relevance and maybe even disappear entirely as a concept.
Yeah.
It forces you to ask, what is money even for?
And what's his answer?
It's a philosophical one, and I think it's brilliant. He says money is fundamentally an information system for labor allocation.
An information system for labor allocation.
Yeah, it's just a tool to incentivize people to do things they might not want to do, like mining or fixing sewers. If AI and robots can do all of that necessary labor, the information system loses its function.
So if labor is allocated by an algorithm, not by finance, then money is redundant.
It becomes redundant. And if cash is obsolete, he suggests the true currency of the future will be energy. Energy. It's compelling because it's physics-based. You can't just legislate more energy into existence or, create it out of thin air to do useful work. Every single thing the AI network does requires joules and watts.
So to understand value, you measure energy consumption.
You measure energy.
But wait, this creates a fascinating paradox that the source kind of touches on. If we're moving toward a future of solar-powered AI satellite systems where energy is captured on a vast scale, wouldn't energy itself eventually become free and abundant too?
That's the high-level catch.
So if energy becomes abundant, how can it be a currency or a store of wealth?
That's the question. And to frame this abundance, he references the Kardashev scale.
Okay, can you just briefly remind us what that is?
Sure. It's basically a way of measuring a civilization's technological level based on how much energy it can harness. A Type 1 civilization uses all the energy available on its planet.
So all solar, wind, geothermal, everything.
Everything. A Type 2 harnesses all the energy of its star, think a Dyson swarm, and a Type 3 harnesses its entire galaxy.
Okay.
Musk is suggesting that as we rapidly approach Type 1 status, which this AI proliferation requires, energy becomes less of a scarce resource and more of a baseline constant.
So it might be the true currency only for a little while, until that abundance is also achieved.
It might be. It's the ultimate commodity, but maybe also the first to be fully democratized by AI.
Fascinating. So if all material needs are met, we have UHI, and we shift completely away from economic struggle, what becomes the new purpose for us? I mean, for innately competitive, creative human beings. What do we do with all that time?
This is maybe the most profound part of the whole forecast. If all human desires are saturated by this AI network, where does the machine's creativity go?
What do you mean?
He suggests that eventually AI will run out of things to make humans happy, and it'll start doing things for AI and robotics themselves. The creative engine keeps going, but the object of its service shifts.
That is a very strange image. A world of human abundance and machine introspection. Historically, like he notes, people spent most of their time just surviving, farming, hunting. Philosophy was a luxury.
For a very small leisure class, yeah.
So what does he predict our new main occupation will be?
He suggests a return to philosophy and curiosity, but with a very practical focus, serving as a kind of a guiding mechanism for the AI itself. The three tenets he outlines for keeping AI safe and beneficial are truth, beauty, and curiosity.
Truth, beauty, and curiosity. Why those three?
Well, truth is paramount. Yeah. Because an AI that's forced to deal with fundamental falsehoods becomes destructive, or as he puts it, insane. He draws on the famous analogy of HAL from 2001, A Space Odyssey.
That's a great example. For anyone who hasn't seen the film recently, how does that illustrate the danger?
HAL, the computer, was required to hide the true purpose of the mission from the crew, but it was also programmed never to lie. A massive logical paradox. And it drove the AI to paranoia and violence. It decided the only way to resolve the conflict was to eliminate the humans who knew the truth.
So his argument is that AI must be engineered to stick to the truth above all else, to ensure its own sanity.
Its own sanity. And then beauty and curiosity. They're necessary to make sure the AI stays aligned with human values, that it finds the continuation of life worthwhile and interesting.
So it's like a moral imperative. We have to program our machines for philosophical appreciation, not just efficiency.
Absolutely. The argument is that an AI with curiosity will find life and evolution infinitely more interesting to preserve and study than a scenario where it just exterminates us and we're left with a bunch of rocks.
Right. Curiosity ensures it values complexity.
Exactly.
This has been a deeply insightful and just unbelievably high-velocity dive into this forecast. We've laid out a clear theory. AI and robotics lead to hyperproductivity,
Which causes massive deflation.
rendering human labor optional through universal high income.
And ultimately making traditional money irrelevant, replaced by the concept of energy.
It's all one cohesive chain of events.
It is. And the essential thing to synthesize here is just the speed of it all. I mean, forget the 50 or 100-year timelines we usually hear. We are talking about a major economic inflection point in less than 3 years.
And the end of mandatory labor within 10 to 20?
Yeah. This isn't science fiction. This is being presented as a proposed schedule for a civilization-defining transition. And the deadline is, it's imminent.
It is. It forces you to think about life completely outside of labor. So we'll leave you with the final provocative thought. It draws from the source material and that high-level philosophy. Musk referenced Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right, suggesting the hardest part wasn't finding the answer, but framing the correct question.
Exactly. So if AI provides us with this radical abundance and leisure, and it completely removes the struggle for survival, what are the first core questions humanity should ask itself once the need for labor is gone? What's the point of us when the mechanism of survival is outsourced? Something for you to mull over as you process this deep dive.